So good evening all. So today we will talk about a very important topic, and this topic is about the meaning of salary or the meaning of income. And the meaning of salary or the meaning of income is a very important topic that a lot of people maybe does not understand, or maybe people does not realize what their income means, what their salary means. And basically, you need a salary, you need an income to fulfill your basic needs from food, from shelter, from transportation, from communication, from social duties, from healthcare, and so on. So the question is, what does I called one restaurant in Jordan to ask about the salary of a kitchen worker. Basically, his main duty is to clean the dishes every day. And they told me it's 300 GODs, 300 GODs or 285, and it will raise to 300 after some time. Maybe after 3 months, because you are under 3 months experience. So what does a salary of 300 GOD means? What the 300 Jordan dinars means? So basically, your basic need will be food and transport. So you need to go to work every day. You need to come back from work, and you need to eat while you are working, or you need to eat when you are home. So still you are not independent, still maybe you are living with your family. So what is the prices that you will pay every day for transport and for, let me say, food? So it depends where do you live, but in general, I would say that you will pay something like 1.5 GOD or Jordanian dinars for transport, and you will pay something like, and this is inside Amman, by the way, and you would never be able to do it if you are living in a let me say another city. So of course, if you are going every day from Zarqa to Amman and you are taking two methods of transport, and Zarqa is very near to Amman, it has a very active transportation line, and there is a big population in Zarqa. So no, you will not be the 1.5 Jordanian dinar for transport will not be enough, and I'm talking about public transport. So you will take at least, let me say, one bus going to Amman and one bus coming back. Also, you will have maybe one service car up and down. So this is definitely more than 1.5 GOD. So you will pay something like 1.5 GOD for transport. Let me say, if you are very conservative, you will pay something like 1.5 for food. You will pay something like 25 GOD, or maybe half a Jordanian dinar for communication, and maybe for social duties. Maybe you want to buy something for your family, or maybe you want to go out, or maybe you want to meet friends, or maybe you want to just buy a coffee from the street, or maybe. So I would say you might pay something like 1 Jordanian dinar every day. So that's 4.5. And maybe you would buy some clothes, and maybe you will buy, maybe you would have some healthcare situation. Maybe you need, maybe your teeth are aching you. Maybe you have some kind of headache. You need some kind of Panadol, or you need some kind of antibiotics. So I would say you add 50 GOD. So I think, because sometimes, just to be careful, I would say that the 300 GOD, you will not feel hungry. You will be able to transport from work, coming back from work. You'll be able to do some social duties, but you will not be able to be independent. So with 300 GODs, you will not be able to rent a house. You will not be able to furnish that house, and you will not be able to add items that you possess every week to the house. So this is the 300 GOD. It covers the basic, let me say, your transport will be using public transport. You will cover the basic food needs. You will cover your basic social duties. You'll cover your basic health care needs, and you will not be independent. You will still be living with your family, or you will still be living. It would be very difficult for you to rent a house and pay for electricity bills and pay for water bills and pay for uh, internet bills and and pay maybe for some kind of house maintenance or other form of work. So 300 JOD is the basic income that will allow you to pay your expenses, your basic expenses, but you will not be able to be independent. Now, let's move to the second category. When you reach the 500 JOD salary, you would be able to be some kind of independent. You'd be able to rent a house. You would be able to eat maybe with some level, eat more meat, eat more chicken. You would be able to add more protein to your diet. You will be able, let me say, uh, to have some fruits from time to time, to buy different kinds of fruits. So you would be comfortable and you will be independent in 500 GODs, but you will still not own a car. You would find owning a car and paying the expenses of that car on a monthly basis, from maintenance to installments to, let me say, to installments to other forms of expenses, car related expenses, would be difficult. So you move to the, if you move to the 700 GODs, so I think this is the tipping point where you start to capitalize on your life, where you start, at least you pay for your basic needs, your basic food needs, your basic transport needs, your basic let me say ICT needs, and you can rent a house, you can furnish that house, you can add appliances on a monthly basis, you can add some items, and you can pay of course the car installment, and you start to see your way out to complete independence, to you start to see that your life is becoming better every week, that is becoming better every year. So the 300 GODs, you will not be independent. You will struggle to have some level of independence, and it's something that is really, you would need someone else. So if you want to get married, you would definitely need a partner to support you. So you would need two salaries in the house. You need 300 and 300, maybe 600 can cover a house rent and can cover that, because it's within the 700 GODs rate. Then if you are in the 500 GOD range, you would also be able to rent a house, but you will not be able to rent a transportation mean. Or maybe you can buy a transportation mean, but you would find it very difficult to pay for the petrol every day, because you are one person, or maybe because you are two. So it would be you would be able to pay. It would be somehow, in my opinion, hard for you to save, to buy items for your house and to add, because basically you are not going to buy the car and live in an empty house. You would live in a house, in a good house, a house that has some appliances, and a house that you can do a lot of things within that house, and then you can focus on the transportation mean that will take you to work and coming back to work. So when you reach the 700 GODs, now you can basically pay for the car, pay for a car installment, pay for house expenses, pay for your food, do your social duties, visit friends, and maybe even you can do you travel every year, and you start making a holiday every year. Or so with the 700 GOD, you start seeing that things are becoming better, that your life is becoming better every year, that maybe you will take a holiday once every year or twice every year. So you start seeing that the 700 GOD is making sense. And before that, you would be a little bit, let me say, struggling either in the form of independence or in the form of transport independence. And let me explain the first one. So the first one, the shelter independence, is the ability to live in an environment that you control the people that can enter that environment. That's the house. The transport independence is that you are ability to transfer to travel anywhere, everywhere within the country that you are living in, anytime you need. So with the 500 GOD, yes, maybe if you want to go to Aqaba now, you can do that. With the 300 GOD, you can do that. With the 700 GOD, maybe definitely you would be able to do that. So 700 GOD gives you your transport independence, gives you your shelter independence, and maybe you can think about other aspects of your life. With the 300 GOD, you will never have a shelter independence or a house independence, or you would see it very difficult because you would be always focusing on your basic needs from food and transport and healthcare and communication and electricity and water. Maybe you are you have some social duties, so you will give these parts a first priority. With the 500 GODs, you would be able to have a shelter independence, but you will not be able to have a transportation independence. With the 700 GOD, you would be able to have a shelter independence and transportation independence. So looking at the figures, if I look at the figures, I see that people saying that the poverty line in Jordan is 814 GOD every year. So they are saying, and they are saying food and non-food. So let me tell you, and they say the food poverty line is 336 GOD per year. So divided by 336, divided by 365. So this is around 90 fils per day, or 90 qirsh, which is 0.9 Jordanian dinars. I would definitely say with 0.9 GOD, you will feel hungry. You can't really, you will feel hungry. With 0.9 GOD food poverty line, you will feel hungry. So if you think that with 0.9 you will not feel hungry, I think you will have some nutrient deficiency. You would struggle to add protein to your diet, and you would definitely I would say that you will feel hungry. So with 0.9 GOD, you will feel hungry, and I think the figure is a little bit not correct. And if we look at the other figure they are proposing, which is about, let me say, 814, and they say this is food and non-food. And I would say with 814 GOD per year, the 365, so we are talking about 2.2 GOD. I say, no, you will not feel hungry, but you will struggle to transport. So you will not feel hungry, but you will struggle to transport. Your transport will be limited. For example, if you want to visit an uncle in another city, it would be very difficult for you. You have to be very careful for that. If you want, let me say, to visit a relative in another city, you would be thinking about that several times. It's not that you can go and see the people that you know from other cities. No, it's not that easy. So your freedom will be highly restricted. It would be very, very hard for you. But you will not feel hungry. With this 2.2 GOD per day, you will not feel hungry, but your transportation will be limited. So you can't just go on a random visit for someone. It would be very difficult for you to do that. And if this is the poverty line, so I would say they got it wrong with the food poverty, and I say with the general poverty they got it wrong. That was my talk for today. We'll see you tomorrow, same time, same place. Take care and have a great evening.